I've heard of some snow bunnies doing some crazy things, but I ain't never heard of them just sitting there. Go right ahead with your question, good brother.
Yes, sir. So I'm African Nigerian, live in Calgary, and my ex-wife. She's white. Yes, I know. I made a mistake. Never do that again. Anyways, but we have 3 kids. And after the divorce, she moved the kids to a small town. It's predominantly white. And now what's going on is in school, they're getting called all sorts of like racist terms, the N-word, monkey, etc. And, talk to the school. No one's really doing anything about it. Talk to the teachers. I've even driven down there because it's like 3 hours drive from where I am in Calgary. I've been driven down there, talked to the school. I've talked to the principals. No one's really doing anything about it. Their mom isn't doing anything really about it. And it's just, I love these kids, right? So it's like, it's something that is really tough for me as a dad. Feeling like there's nothing I can do. I don't know what you suggest. I don't know if there's any, I don't know.
Have you put pen to paper yet? Have you written to the superintendent of schools about this situation? This is a public school or private?
It's a public school.
Have you written to the superintendent of schools about this?
Not yet, sir.
That's what you need to do. You got to put pen to paper. If it's not on paper, it don't count in the school system. So I would write a letter to the principal of the school expressing my grievance, and I would carbon copy the superintendent of the schools. And I would also write a letter to the elected officials in whose district that school exists, because I'm quite sure Canada is very similar to the States. I'm quite sure you guys have laws against racial profiling and racial bullying in your public schools. So I would write to my elected officials, and I would write to the superintendent of the school situation.
Okay.
And I would also speak with an attorney to see if I have grounds for a lawsuit against them as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was. I have an appointment with one this coming week because I'm out of options. So it's like I don't know what else to do.
Nah, definitely. Those are the 3 roads to pursue: superintendent, attorney, and the elected officials. For sure, they can't get away with that. And you might even have to take her to court, man, because if she let them do this to your kids and she their mother, that's abuse. That's child abuse and neglect. So, I would hate for you to have to go to family court. Lord knows that ain't no place for a black man, but you might have to go to fight for your kids if she's going to sit around and let them be victimized by racism, man. I've never heard that before. I've heard of some snow bunnies doing some crazy things, but I ain't never heard of them just sitting there, letting white folks target their black children like that. So if she don't wake up, you might have to get at least more custody of your children.
Okay. That's what I'm going to do.
No problem, bro. Be safe, man. Reach out to me if you need me. No doubt. Be safe, King. All right. He said the snow bunny mom ain't doing nothing about her black children being bullied at the school. Let me say this to the Snow Bunny Nation. The Pale Queendom. Snow Bunny Nation. If you know you don't like black people, and you know you don't, you just fetishize black men and they shango sticks. To the Snow Bunny Nation, if you know you don't care about black people, and you don't, you just fetishize black men and they shango sticks, don't have no black children. Use birth control. Don't bring no black children into this world that you know you don't want to raise. Why do y'all do this? Why are you having unprotected sex with black men whose children you don't want to have? Stop doing that, Snow Bunny Nation. Stop doing that, Snow Bunny Nation. Stop having black children that you don't want to raise. Cut it out. And bunny hoppers, beta male bunny hoppers, stop impregnating these white women. Use a condom, my brother. Get a vasectomy. Stop being reckless like that. Putting a black child in a white vagina. What good is it? Putting a black child in a white vagina. What good is it? Come on, brothers. We got to do better. Black queens forever. Snow bunnies never.
Well, I am a single mom of 2 daughters, and they both are in private school. And what we've seen is that obviously our children are not getting the support that they need, being in these predominantly white institutions. And we are trying to form a coalition of Black families and parents across all the different predominantly white schools here in Chicago. I'm surprised there's nothing like this already, because I've been looking for something. There's nothing that's helping to support them outside of those schools, and we're not organized enough to give them the support that they need.
You're absolutely right. And although I'm not going to shame Black parents who send their kids to white schools, I will say that Black parents can be so naive as to think that just because this white private school or this white public school is high achieving and has a great reputation, that is going to translate into a good experience for your child. With all the racism that we experience, it amazes me how Black parents are so shocked when they find out that these high achieving white schools can't stand their children, are mistreating their children, are trying to special educate and put their children out the schools. And I'm like, what did you expect? White people did not create these schools so Black kids can go. They created these schools so white kids can stay by themselves. And so you violated their space. And so they're going to do everything they can to get your kids up out of there. And unfortunately for we as African people in America, you know, we are too vested into white validation, white approximation, and white imitation. I'm going to say that again. Most Black people in America are completely invested into white imitation. We want to imitate whites. White validation. We want to be approved of by whites. And whites approximation. We want to live with them, work with them, date them, marry them, sleep with them. And, you know, that is a very big problem with us. We don't want to be ourselves. We want to be them. And we force our kids to try to act like them by sticking them in these schools, only to be shocked when we find out that in many cases they're being treated worse at the white school than they was at the hood school.
It's interesting that you should say that, Dr. Umar, because I actually went to predominantly white schools from kindergarten all the way through my master's program. And for me personally, I'm not shocked that that's happening with my children, but why I would love to meet you and maybe do some work with you is because I personally, my perspective is that I'm in these spaces, but I'm never neglecting my authenticity and who I am to bring other Black people along with me. So I'm in a leadership position at a Fortune 500 company. And one of the reasons why I stay, and people say to me, why do you stay? Why do you want to be there? And I personally feel like if there's people that want to come up through the ranks that are Black and they're in these spaces, there needs to be other Black people as well. And when I put my children in these schools, I knew that I do things, everything outside of what we do is Black. We live in Bronzeville, where you're going to do your speech. We do everything Black outside of what they do at school, similar to what I do at work. I go to work, I'm with white people all day, but everything outside of that is all Black. I know that you don't necessarily agree with that, but that's been my position. But I also think that if we're going to be there in those spaces, that they need to remember who they are and be able to stand up and advocate and have a level of authenticity.
Got you. I follow you, Queen. I follow you. So keep me posted.
Thank you, Dr. Umar.
Thank you, Queen. Be blessed.